Alright, what's up everybody? Today we're doing our Las Vegas GP predictions for 2024, and obviously we always start with a track walk. So let's go do that, and this gives us an idea of what we can expect, and why certain teams are fast here, and so on. So the lap technically kind of starts back here. So this is the back straight, super long straightaway, with the DRS zone, and this is a great passing opportunity. We'll obviously talk more about that when we get back here, but another thing, if you can't pass here, you can get really close through this section. Try and stay close to the guy behind. That's why I say the lap sort of starts back here, as it usually does. So just flat out through here, obviously. Singapore at home. Favorite turn ever. And then this is it's a tricky little corner, this one. But it also is great for overtaking. So obviously you want to, classic, wide, then inside line and hug the left wall here. But if you're pushed to the outside here, like say you just dive bomb and you go to the outside, classic racetrack stuff here, obviously. You stay on that outside line for turn one, and now it's the inside line. And guess what's over here? We get another DRS zone. Yeah? See? Really, so that little complex there, it really, not only is it tricky to pull off every single lap, in the qualifying and stuff, but you also get chances for some good racing. As with there, I mean, that turn is just incident city. Frankly, it's pretty hard to pass on because it's so narrow. That's why I don't really like that turn so much. But it's another opportunity. This is yet another opportunity to stay close to the guy in front here, and then brake hard. Oh wow, that's different from the set of course. Actually, I'll need to get used to that. Not really a great passing zone, but obviously, as you saw, it's wide open, so like if you try and go for a pass and fail, you can get the position right back. So this is where this is part of the track I don't like very much. It's just flat out here, obviously. And then this is a really tricky place to find your braking point. It's not really a passing, it seems like it would maybe be an okay passing spot, but you really can't pass on there. But yeah, you take as much speed as you can through there, obviously, and you need to get it just right because DRS zone, yet again. So I don't mind that turn in particular. I just don't like, now we're just like sitting here for the rest of the time. we're just chilling, just dudes chilling on a straightaway. I actually don't know what the breaking point is in F123 for this year. But yeah, another great passing opportunity here. So it is a street circuit through and through, tight walls, all that good stuff. But it also does have a lot of decent passing opportunities. So really, it should be a fun Grand Prix. It can, like this back straight and everything, and all the flat out areas, like it can lead to DRS trains and stuff. But it isn't too bad because passing on this track, I mean, it was made with passes in mind. So you could, and like being able to chase people down and stuff like that, and there's always room for two cars other than turn 3. Turn 3 doesn't really have room for multiple cars, but there's a lot of room on the track despite it being a street circuit at the places where you overtake. So that's pretty cool. A lot of good things in its favor. So what kind of guys are good? What guys are good here? What sort of cars are good here? It's really, since there's so much straightaway, and not like actively turning, like sector 1 is pretty tight turns and stuff, but yeah, the other half of the lap is just basically flat out, so it's hard to keep your tires warmed up. So it really depends like how well a car lights up its tires, how much straight line performance do they have, what are their temps like in terms of like engine temperature, because obviously just revving the engine to max for a lot of the laps. So lots of little things like that. So let's get into the actual predictions. So I'm going to say it again. I think Ferrari will be the fastest team, right? Every time I've said that after Circuit of the Americas, something's always come up in the races that makes it seem like, well, maybe they're actually not the fastest, but here they should be the fastest, right? It just makes sense, and I think Charles Leclerc will be the lead Ferrari in this case. Obviously, there's a little bit of bias there because obviously you got pole position last year, P2 last year, so yeah, there is a little bit of bias there going on, but I do think they'll be fast, and I think Charles will be really fast. He really likes this track too, so that's cool. But I do think Red Bull as well will have their groove back. Will Sergio Perez? I don't think so. I think he's kind of done right now. He just wants the season to be over, so I don't see him having all that much pace here. But Max, I think, will be very quick, worryingly quick for McLaren. So, yeah, Max is definitely going to take constructors' points away from McLaren, and I think Ferrari would be so fast that they might. Nah, I won't say they'll take the lead of the constructors after this one race, but it's going to get a lot closer, I feel like. And actually, I do see, McLaren's, they haven't been slow, but I do see both McLarens being behind Max here, actually. Because Lando and Piastri, they actually didn't really have that great of a race last year. It was strange. They just didn't conform to this track very well. Obviously, McLaren is, they feel like a different team this season in terms of pace and how quickly they adapt the car and stuff like that. So they might surprise me, but I don't really see the McLarens beating Max, and I definitely don't see them beating Ferrari at this track. But you never know with their whole "we have 57 rear wings" deal. You never know. They could pull out some a nice setup. But I do think also George Russell, George and Lewis both are a little worried about this track because of all the temperature issues. It's really hard to get temp in the tires and stuff. They're worried, but I think George is actually going to have a nasty race here. He was quick here last year before his incident with I think it was Max, not Sergio, right? Actually, I forget. But anyways, he had an incident, and he was very much the lead Mercedes last year, and I think he's going to be popping his head in, and instead of like Mercedes being like the de facto fourth fastest, I think they're actually going to mix it up this time. Well, I say they. I think George is going to mix it up this time. As for Hamilton, though, he didn't have his pace last year was kind of mid, and I think he's just on a slump right now where he's just done with Mercedes, a bit like Sergio Perez, but maybe not as extreme. But yeah, I think his slump will continue, and he'll be not at the back of the pack, but he's going to do his ground effect era Lewis Hamilton thing. Qualify pretty slow, and then cut through the field as the race goes on and get some points. I do think, however, I know, I'm biased. I love Franco Colapinto platonically, okay? But I think now he's finally going to get his groove back. I think this is it's a tricky track, for sure, but it's not Interlagos in the wet, right? So I think this is his chance to really pick up the pace again, show everyone what he's made of, and, get his groove back, essentially. And considering his performance at Baku and stuff, I think this will be positive for him. But I will say, Williams, the places they've been fast at in the past, hasn't really been all that consistent this season. Because obviously the car is quite different from the 2023 car. So I actually don't see the Williams car, everyone's saying this is Williams' best chance, this is it. But I actually don't know for sure if that's going to be the case here, because it's a very, very different car, and at least from my perspective, the way I'm reading the 2024 season, thus far, the tracks they've been good at in the past haven't necessarily been their home run tracks. And I think Alpine is actually still on the rise. I think they'll be riding this momentum now. They're not going to be super duper quick, but I do think that they're finally going to be in the mix, getting some points, and I think Pierre Gasly's insane qualifying talents are really going to pay off at this street circuit. But it's hard to say because Ocon is riding a really, really big high, so he might get his groove back as well and really, really lock in for this triple header. But my guess would be Gasly is the faster driver. Now I think Liam Lawson, though, he might go crazy. To be honest with you, I think he's an extremely aggressive driver and he's very quick. And those two things together on a street circuit are a problem. So I think he's going to qualify well, but he's also really going to be sticking his nose in. So yeah, I'm worried he's going to crash into someone a little bit. I'm a little worried he's going to just knock someone off the track or something. But I do think also this is going to be a race where we look back, considering Lawson's probably going to get an F1 seat. Let's be real. So we're going to look back at this. This is a race we're going to look back on and be like, wow, yeah, this kid was crazy good. And yeah, I think Aston Martin and Sauber, I think they're just gonna flop. I don't think they're gonna pull out anything special here. Lance Stroll was actually quite good at this circuit last time around. God, it sounded like saying his name was like saying Voldemort's name. But yeah, he was decent last time. So hopefully he could. I don't want them to be at the back of the pack, but I do see Alonso and Stroll and Bottas and Guan Yu just at the back. But I also think Haas might stagnate here. They've been on a high, but I think with Alpine coming back, I feel like they might stagnate a little bit, and I don't think points are necessarily guaranteed here. But okay, top 5 time, I pretty much already said it, but yeah. Number 1, Charles Leclerc, for sure. I mean, the season's been crazy, so anything's possible, but I do think he's got this one in the bag. And then right behind him will be Carlos Sainz. I know, like, he had his insane Mexico performance, and everyone was like, oh, it's time. It's Carlos's time. And then, you know, he had a pretty mid Brazilian GP, so it's hard to say how close he'll be to Charles, but yeah, I think he'll be right there. I think he has all the pace. I think he can keep Max behind. I think he's proven you know, real racer, right? So he can keep Max behind, I think. And I kind of revealed P3 there. Yeah, I think Max P3 here. I think the Red Bull car is going to be absolutely fine on this track. I don't think this is going to be a tricky track for it, and Max is Max, so I think he gets P3. P4, I'll say Lando Norris, throw him a bone. You know, he didn't do too great last year in this at this track, but that's not really the end of the world considering how much faster their car is now. And who knows, McLaren might come in with the rear wing of the century, and then he just strolls off to P1. It's impossible to know for sure in this season, but I would put him a little bit, like, I think I'd put him out of the podium places, just judging off of what happened last time. And then P5, I'll just throw George Russell a bone here and say George Russell. He's really good at this track. I think he's fired up. He's been on a bit of a roll of a really solid performances, and of course super duper unlucky in Brazil. That race was definitely his, but it was really just luck on that one. Really, obviously Max put in an insane performance. Maybe without the red flag he would have caught back up anyways. Who knows for sure? But yeah, I think George on a bit of a roll. Fired up right now with all the FIA controversies and stuff. So I think he's here to prove something. I think he's here to finish out this season with this last triple header, going nuts basically, and just showing I am the clear definitive leader of the team, and I deserve that title. If that makes any sense. I think that was just word vomit. Anyways, that's most of my videos, to be honest. But alright, that's my predictions for the 2024 Las Vegas Grand Prix. What do you guys think? What's your top 5? Are you guys excited for the race? Are you looking forward to it? Or do you think it'll be a bit boring? Because you know, it's a little tricky to pass on this track. Do you think it'll be a DRS train fest? Or do you think drivers are going to be really aggressive since the field has just closed up massively, other than Sauber and Aston Martin? Alright, that's all I got. Thank you for watching.